They left you in the dark, not by accident, not because they forgot. No, this was deliberate. They shut the door, locked it behind them, and never looked back. They whispered to each other that you wouldn't make it, that you weren't strong enough, that you'd break. And maybe for a while they were right. You sat in that cold silence, waiting. At first you believed they'd return, that someone would, that the ones who promised they'd never leave you would realize their mistake. But the truth hits hard, doesn't it? No one is coming, and that's when the war begins. Not out there, not with them, but inside. A voice, crawling from the deepest parts of your mind, hissing like venom, asking, what if they were right about you? What if you really are too small, too weak, too insignificant to matter? Every failure, every rejection, every moment you begged for something. Love, acceptance, acknowledgement, floods back. The laughter in their voices. The way they looked through you like you were invisible. You feel it like knives in your skin. You think back to all the times you tried, all the times you reached out only to have your hand slapped away, and somewhere in the depths of your soul, something starts to crack. You try to fight it, but how do you fight something that's always been there? The doubt was planted in you long before you even knew how to speak, conditioned into your bones, your blood, your very breath. They told you who you were before you had the chance to decide, and when you started to believe them, they won. That's how it works, doesn't it? They don't have to destroy you, they just have to make you destroy yourself. But here's the part they never expected. You're still here, and that fact alone, that terrifies them. They thought you'd disappear in the silence, that you'd fade into nothing, that the weight of abandonment would crush you. But you didn't shatter. You didn't vanish. And now something else is stirring inside you. Something they never prepared for. A realization, a quiet, dangerous thought. What if they were wrong about you? You rise, not because you're healed, not because the scars have faded, but because something inside of you refuses to die. They built this darkness for you, expecting it to consume you, but what they forgot is that darkness is not the absence of light, it's the place where light is born. They never told you the truth. They never wanted you to know. From the moment you took your first breath, the world began its work, conditioning you, shaping you, making you small. They fed you limitations dressed as wisdom, wrapped chains around your mind and called them rules. They taught you to obey, to fit in, to never question. They whispered, stay quiet, stay humble, don't ask for too much, and you listened. Because they made you believe that was the only way to survive. You were never weak, but they had to make you think you were. It was the only way to keep you under control. Society needs people who doubt themselves, people who hesitate, people who never realize their own power. So they trained you like a caged animal, clipping your wings before you ever had the chance to fly. They buried your fire beneath layers of self-doubt, convinced you that ambition was arrogance, that confidence was a sin, and worst of all, you believed them. They made sure of it. But the real betrayal? It didn't come from strangers. It came from the ones who were supposed to protect you, the ones who smiled in your face but never stood beside you when it mattered. Family, friends, the people who said they loved you but never really saw you. They were supposed to be your foundation, your safety net, your home. But they weren't. They were the first ones to doubt you, the first ones to tell you to be realistic, the first ones to remind you of your place. And when you needed them most, they vanished. Or worse, they stayed just long enough to watch you fall. You didn't break all at once. No, it happened slowly, piece by piece, cut by cut. The little moments that piled up over the years, the rejection, the humiliation, the times you tried to stand up for yourself and were met with laughter, the moments when you needed someone to believe in you. And instead, they reminded you of every time you had failed, until finally, there was that one event, the one that changed everything, the one that shattered you beyond repair. You remember it, don't you? The night everything collapsed. The moment you realized that no one was coming to save you. The second it hit you that you were alone in this world and the only person who could fight for you was you. It felt like death, like something inside you was ripped apart, like the last bit of hope was drained from your veins. And for a while you thought it was over, that this was the end. But here's what they don't understand. There is something dangerous about a person who has nothing left to lose. Because when everything is taken from you, when they strip you down to nothing, there's nothing left but raw, untamed power. And for the first time in your life, you begin to see, not the illusions they fed you, not the lies they planted in your mind, but the truth. They blinded you so you'd never find it. But now your eyes are open. And there's no going back. The war has never been with them. Not really, it has always been inside you. The battlefield isn't out there, it's in your mind, in your heart, in the places no one else can see. The scars aren't just on your skin, they're carved into your soul. And every single night when the world goes quiet, they come back. The voices, the doubts, the ghosts of every failure, every rejection, every time you were made to feel like you weren't enough. You try to silence them, but they whisper louder. They know exactly where to strike, don't they? Right where it hurts the most. You're still that same broken child. You will never be good enough. You don't have what it takes. You feel the weight of those words pressing down on your chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to move, hard to fight, and the worst part? There's a part of you that believes them. Because you've been told the same lies for so long, they've started to sound like the truth. You begin to ask yourself the question that has haunted you for years. Am I truly worthless? The question that keeps you awake at night, that gnaws at your confidence, that makes you wonder if all of this struggle is pointless. You stare at the ceiling, at the darkness around you, and you wonder if this is all you'll ever be, a shadow of something that never had a chance to shine. And then something shifts, something you weren't expecting, a flicker of something deep inside you. Not hope, not yet, something darker, something sharper, rage. Not at them, not at the world, not at the people who left you behind, but at yourself, at the version of you that has allowed this to continue for so long, at the part of you that accepted their lies, that let them write your story, that let them convince you that you were powerless. And suddenly, for the first time in your life, you feel something you haven't felt before. You want to fight, not for their approval, not to prove them wrong, but for yourself. Because deep down, beneath all the pain, beneath all the doubt, beneath all the scars, there is something inside you that refuses to die. They tried to kill it, they tried to bury it, but it's still there, waiting. And now it's waking up. The war isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. And this time, you're not running from it. You're walking straight into the fire. Something shifts. It's subtle at first, like the first crack of light breaking through a door that was never supposed to open. You feel it before you understand it, a flicker of something foreign, a thought that doesn't belong to the old you, the one they molded, the one they weakened, a realization. Cold and undeniable, you were never weak. They needed you to believe that you were. That was their only power over you. Not their words, not their judgment, not even their absence, just the belief they forced into you. They had to make you doubt yourself, because if you ever saw the truth, if you ever recognized what was inside you, you would become unstoppable, and that terrified them. That's why they left you in the dark, not because you were unworthy, not because you weren't enough, but because they knew what you could become. They saw it before you did. They saw the fire in you, the potential, the hunger, the raw power waiting to be unleashed, and they feared it. They feared the moment you would wake up and realize that the chains they placed on you were never real, that you could have broken them at any time, and now you do. The mental chains begin to crack. The weight they put on you starts to feel lighter. You are not their victim, you never were. You were their biggest threat. And now, you are free. But freedom is terrifying, isn't it? Because for the first time, there's no one left to blame, no one left to wait for. It's just you and the road ahead, and you hesitate. Because the old you, the one who lived in the shadows, is still whispering, still clinging to your skin, begging you to stay where it's safe. But you know now, safety was the real prison. The first step out of the darkness isn't easy. It's painful. It's terrifying. It's like walking into the unknown without a map, without a guide, without a guarantee that you'll make it. But you move anyway, because now you understand something they never wanted you to know. Pain is not your prison. It is your power. The same pain they used to break you, it built you. The same struggles that made you question your worth, they sharpened you. Every scar, every wound, every moment of suffering, it was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you for this, for now, for the moment you finally step into who you were always meant to be. They left you in the dark, thinking it would destroy you, but they forgot one thing. Light is born in the darkness. And now, you are the light. You are no longer the person they abandoned. That version of you is dead, and in its place, something unrecognizable, something sharper, stronger, untamed. The pain that once chained you has been reforged into armor. The doubts that used to haunt you now fuel your fire. You don't think the same. You don't move the same. You don't ask for anything anymore. You take, because you have finally understood the truth. No one is coming to save you, and that is your greatest power. This is your rebirth, the moment the world no longer recognizes you. They used to predict your moves, used to know how to break you, used to control you with a single word, but that was the old you, the one who waited, the one who needed approval, the one who asked for permission. That person no longer exists, and that terrifies them, because now you don't ask for permission, not to be seen, not to be heard, not to take up space. You are done explaining yourself, done shrinking so others can feel big, done playing small so they don't feel threatened. You walk into every room with the presence of someone who knows exactly who they are, and you don't apologize for it. The weak version of you died in the fire. The new you walks through it without fear. But rebirth isn't just about mindset, it's about discipline. The weak move on emotion, the strong move on principle. You don't wait until you feel ready. You don't hesitate when it gets uncomfortable. You train your mind like a warrior sharpens a blade. No excuses, no mercy. Because you understand that the war isn't over. The same world that tried to break you will come for you again. But this time, you are ready. This is how legends are made. Not by avoiding pain, but by mastering it. Not by seeking comfort, but by embracing the grind. You do what they won't. You wake up earlier, you work harder, you push past the breaking point. Because you know now, discipline is freedom, relentlessness is power, and hunger is the only thing that separates the weak from the unstoppable. They won't recognize you anymore. They will whisper. They will wonder. They will ask, what happened to you? But you won't answer, because they don't deserve to know. You have rebuilt yourself from the ashes, and now you are untouchable. Pain tried to destroy you, it failed. Now you use it. Every scar, every betrayal, every moment of suffering. It no longer weakens you, it feeds you. You don't run from your past, you harness it. The nights you cried yourself to sleep, the days you felt invisible, the moments you thought about giving up, they have become fuel for something bigger, something stronger. Every ounce of suffering has been transformed into unshakable strength. They thought they were breaking you, but all they did was forge a weapon. And now, you are that weapon. The shift is undeniable. The energy around you changes. You no longer chase validation, attention, or approval. You move with the certainty of someone who knows their worth. You don't beg. You don't plead. You don't explain. Because now you understand the secret that few ever realize. The one who controls themselves controls everything. You don't chase, you attract. Because power isn't about proving yourself to others, it's about mastering yourself. It's about mastering yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy. You have stepped into a version of yourself that is no longer controlled by fear, by doubt, by the ghosts of the past. And that is when everything begins to shift. The same world that ignored you, rejected you, underestimated you, now it can't look away. And then it happens. The first taste of victory. The moment you see the doubt in their eyes, the regret, the realization that they were wrong about you, they dismissed you, they counted you out, and now your success shakes them. It rattles them, it makes them uncomfortable because they never expected you to rise. But here you are, standing in the fire that was supposed to consume you, untouched, unbreakable, unstoppable. This is just the beginning. You are no longer climbing, you are ascending. And soon, the very people who doubted you will have no choice but to watch. They wouldn't recognize you now. The person they left in the dark, the one they overlooked, the one they doubted, that person is gone. In their place stands something they never saw coming. Something unstoppable, something radiant. You don't just survive anymore. You don't just exist, you dominate. You walk into every room and the air shifts. Not because you demand attention, but because your presence is undeniable. You are no longer seeking the light. You are the light. And now, the truth is clear. They can't break you anymore. Not their words, not their absence, not their rejection. They no longer have power over you because you have taken back what was always yours. Your worth, your strength, your identity. You are not fragile. You are not waiting for approval. You are untouchable. What once wounded you now fuels you. What once controlled you now bows before you. They will whisper, they will wonder, they will try to make sense of your transformation, but they won't understand. Because they never knew what was inside you. They never saw what you were capable of. They thought you were just another name to forget, another soul to crush, another story that would never be told. But they were wrong. They will know your name now, not because you screamed for recognition, but because your light is impossible to ignore. And here's the final message, the one they never expected to hear. You are the light now, and they will see you burn, not with destruction, but with power, not with anger, but with undeniable presence. The same people who left you in the dark will now have no choice but to watch as you rise, as you glow, as you become everything they said you couldn't be. You have stepped into your power, and now the world will never be the same.